Washed up ex-CNN host Don Lemon attempts to degrade MAGA women. Cringe. Don Lemon attacks MAGA ladies over looks, uses so-called trans as an insult against Megyn Kelly. Ex-failed host Don Lemon is under fire for attacking conservative media personality Megyn Kelly by using the so-called trans as an insult. During a recent episode of his Clip Farmers podcast, he and his co-hosts, in a segment that looks like a frat house reject reunion, discussed the appearance of MAGA ladies and began attacking conservative women for their looks rather than their character and substance.
Is Megyn Kelly chopped?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what is chopped. I've heard it, but I don't know what that means. What does chopped mean?
She's gonna get mad at me, dude. I don't know if I want this here.
What does chopped mean?
Chopped means like not hot.
Yeah, she's chopped. I don't know, the whole MAGA look.
It's all the MAGA ladies.
Too
They
much.
look.
Kind of looks like a Barbie doll covered in like WD-40.
I think she looks trans.
Let's end on that note.
She looks clockable.
This is yet another example of, yes, hypocrisy, but I would say exposure to point to the fact that people like this don't honestly believe the things that they claim to advocate for publicly. They just want something to complain about and use against you to cancel you. Speaking of public beatdowns, Stephen Miller's wife, Katie, forces a stunned Jake Tapper to abruptly shut down segment with her savage comments about Biden's DEI White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. Katie Miller proved she is as smart and savage as her husband, Stephen Miller, when she forced CNN propagandist Jake Tapper to wrap up a segment in a hurry because he could not answer her basic questions on former Biden White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. As the Gateway Pundit reported, Jean-Pierre has published a tell-all book called Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines, which was released on October 21st. Nobody knew, nobody cares. The book goes into detail regarding why she decided to ditch the Democrat Party. Of course, Jean-Pierre's newfound independence has nothing to do with discovering conservative values. She is just upset over how her party treated her former boss. However, on Tuesday, Jake Tapper brought on Katie Miller and Karen Finney, who served as the spokesperson for Crooked Hillary's 2016 presidential campaign, to discuss Jean-Pierre. The segment went off the rails, you'll see right now, when Miller mocked Jean-Pierre as a DEI hire and noted her poor performance as press secretary. She also asked why she got the job over former Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby.
What I think you're seeing and what Karen is attesting to is that she is quite incompetent to do the job, right? This is what Republicans have been saying for years now, is that she is just another evidence that DEI doesn't work, whether that's in the White House in your press secretary role, or whether that's an air traffic controller, an air pilot, whether that's your doctor. You want to hire the best for the role. Not just based on skin color, Jake. Why did she get the job over John Kirby?
Well, why are we assuming that she, as a black LGBT, gay woman, is DEI, but a white woman who is behind the podium right now, which DEI initially started as affirmative action, which was about affirmatively hiring women and minorities? Why is one DEI and the other is not?
Why did she get the job over John Kirby? Because as everyone has said this week, she is woefully incompetent.
She had the job long before John Kirby.
I will just say she used to be a commentator on CNN, then she was one on MSNBC, and she was good at that. Like, I mean, I'm without getting into the job I thought she did as press secretary. I thought it didn't seem crazy to me because she was eloquent as a commentator.
Why is she trained every 4 sentences to say she is a black, queer, LGBTQ woman? Because that's how she's been promoted her entire career.
Anyway, Katie Miller and Karen Finney, thank you so much. Why is the Pentagon taking issue with the top movie on Netflix right now?
Uh-oh, shut it down. These people are cowards, aren't they? They really can't stand by what they claim to believe. They claim to stand by the DEI agenda. But when you actually roll it out, when you actually explain it, when it's actually spoken out loud what it really is, yes, they are just handouts. It's not merit-based. It's not talent-based. It's not ability-based. It's skin color-based. And that's why you have seen just exactly the outcome of a DEI hire at the level of a White House press secretary. She's not good at anything. She was a disaster. She still is. That's why she can't really get any momentum anywhere else. Cancer, acne rosacea, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis are 4 different diseases in 4 different areas of medicine. What if they can all be treated with parasite medication, and that turns out for these diseases to be true? What if I told you that if you had a pet or ate sushi, you are more likely to have parasites? This means that a lot of our ailments that we experience every day are caused not by environmental issues, but by parasites as well. This is something Big Pharma does not want you to know about. I know many of us check off many of these boxes. This is why Purge is offering their new liver cleanse products for all of you out there that need to clear those toxins out once and for all. PurgeStore.com offers everything you need to cleanse and detox your body. Powerful enzymes and probiotics, 15-day colon cleanse protocols, liver cleanse, and of course, the parasite cleanse. Right now, if you go to PurgeStore.com and use promo code DREW, that's DREW, you will get 20% off your entire order. Use the link in the description below, PurgeStore.com, and support the Gateway Pundit today. The Gateway Pundit is supported by the people, we the people, that is you, the American people. We thank you for your support. Scott Jennings schools leftist panelist on basic civics after he claims presidential pardon can be delegated to anyone other than the president. CNN contributor and conservative commentator Scott Jennings once again embarrassed a Democrat pundit on live TV, this time Elliot Williams, a former Obama-era DOJ official, after Williams bizarrely suggested that a president could delegate the constitutional power of pardons. Elliot Williams, who once served as a deputy assistant attorney general at the DOJ and as assistant director at ICE under the Obama administration, bizarrely tried to defend Biden's use of an auto pen to sign official documents, including pardons. Jennings immediately hit back. Take a look.
Tradition of auto pens has existed in every presidential administration across parties. I had an auto pen when I worked at ICE.
I'm sorry, Elliot Williams.
Elliot Williams literally had an auto pen.
You were important enough to have an auto pen. I'm so impressed.
I am important, Casey. But no, and so it's a common practice.
Did you allow people to use the name Elliot Williams without your knowledge of the document or what was on the page?
I don't recall. So
I'm asking you, if you were a government official and you had an auto pen, which you did, would you let some staffer sign things in your name without reading?
Yeah, here's the question. Was my authority delegated to that person? And I think they do have the authority to do so. Laws and and I'm serious, Scott, laws and regulations.
The authority to delegate pardons and executive orders, the President of the United States can say, you unelected staffer can go sign my name on a document that I've never seen for a decision that I've never made?
Quite often, the United States Code delegates authority. So through the President of the United States, through the Attorney General, whatever else, X person can carry out a function. And certainly that could be the case. Now, Donald Trump, for instance, in his first term, pardoned like 1,600 people. And I have a hard time believing that he was aware of every single person that he was pardoning. One could make a challenge. Every president does this. Now, if it's a question about Biden's fitness for office, did he know what he was? Of course, raise that question. But I just, one, given how vast the pardon power is, and two, given how comprehensive the use of auto pens are across administrations, I have a hard time seeing a legal challenge.
Nobody can be delegated the pardon power.
Yes.
It is a constitutional power.
Yes.
And I don't really think you can delegate the executive order power either, because the executive has to make the order.
So, Scott,
During the Kamala coup of 2024, all of these leftists and all of these Democrats, in full hypocrisy, started finally calling for Joe Biden to step aside because he was cognitively, obviously, not fit. So how could the executive, the President of the United States, be delegating his authority for some staffer to use the auto pen to sign documents, pardons in his name? Oh, and by the way, preemptive pardons in his name. Speaking of the low IQ, Jimmy Kimmel tries to shame Christians over Trump's enforcement of immigration law. Jimmy Kimmel recently appeared on Ted Danson's podcast and tried to shame Christians over the fact that Trump is enforcing U.S. immigration laws. Breitbart News reports ABC late-night TV host Jimmy Kimmel claimed that Christianity is perverted as he attacked President Donald Trump's immigration policies in an appearance on Ted Danson's podcast released on Thursday. Kimmel also dared to speak for Jesus as he complained that Catholicism has been co-opted in America today. In the podcast, recorded before Kimmel was suspended for claiming Charlie Kirk's murder was a MAGA supporter, Kimmel claimed that Jesus would oppose people being arrested over their immigration status.
Christianity is
something else
has
now.
been co-opted and perverted in such a way, and that I find especially upsetting. And that, you know, I think about what Jesus would think of this stuff, you know, and I mean, it seems pretty plain that he wouldn't think it's great, that he wouldn't approve of nannies being yanked out of the park and thrust into a van to be returned to their home countries because their paperwork is not in order. That just all really seems very obvious to me. And I think that it is to most people, but it's become this us versus them. It's become almost like sports where I root for the red team and you root for the blue team, and everything the blue team does is good and everything the red team does is bad, and vice versa. And I just sometimes I hope, and maybe foolishly, that it will resonate with at least those people who don't have their minds completely made up.
Right. Jimmy Kimmel is a theologian now and some kind of authority on scripture and Christianity. Give me a break. Jesus said lawlessness would abound in the last days. That's exactly what we are seeing right now as we speak. No borders, no enforcement of immigration law, the complete opposite of law and order. That actually lines up with Jesus's words. Jesus is not pro-lawlessness. He's actually the opposite. Order. My name is Drew Hernandez for the Gateway Pundit, and you have been on Watch with Drew Hernandez. I'll see you guys on the next one.